Malaysia, a land of diverse culture, delicious food, majestic nature, stunning architecture, and the explosive 1MDB corruption scandal.
The people who were alleged to have done this theft allegedly stole $4.5 billion.
Just when you thought there could be no bigger disappointment than the Prime Minister allegedly stealing from his own people, then comes along Forest City, Malaysia's $100 billion failure.
Habislah tanah kita akan dijual.
Forest City is an urban development built within the Iskandar Special Economic Zone in the southern state of Johor, Malaysia. It is located in the city of Johor Bahru, or as the locals call it, JB, and is just north of Singapore. Malaysia had high expectations for Forest City. It was touted as the Shenzhen of Southeast Asia, with reference to its proximity to Singapore, as Shenzhen is to Hong Kong. Forest City's location as the de facto commercial hub of southern Malaysia also signaled the project's initial expected success. After all, JB's close proximity to Singapore should capture the spillover industrial opportunities from its tiny but wealthy neighbor. The project is expected to be fully developed by 2035 with 700,000 residents, but today, the unfinished development houses an estimated 2,000 residents. Even with Malaysia's recovering economy and COVID-19 restrictions lifted, Forest City is still hauntingly empty. Today, we're diving in with our top reasons for the downfall of Forest City. Forest City was first announced in 2006 and pitched under China's Belt and Road Initiative. The project is a joint venture between Chinese developer Country Garden Group and Malaysian government-backed EDSB. 10 years later, in 2016, the project was officiated by disgraced ex-Prime Minister of Malaysia, Najib Razak, infamous for his involvement in the 1MDB corruption scandal. The development is made up of 4 man-made islands covering 1,370 hectares, 4 times the size of New York's Central Park. Its website proudly states that it will be a smart and green futuristic city that combines environment and cutting-edge technology. Other than residential units, its ambitious development would also include office towers, parks, hotels, shopping malls, and an international school, all draped with lush greenery. Its main selling point was its affordable seafront properties compared to more expensive coastal cities like Shanghai. It was expected to draw in 170 billion Malaysian ringgit of investment over 20 to 30 years. But today, its streets are eerily empty, apartment complexes unoccupied, and commercial units abandoned. A reporter from Insider visited the development and found that its busiest location was a duty-free shop, where customers were curious visitors from other parts of Malaysia. Problem 1. Political challenges. Forest City's initial strong sales from China collapsed when in 2017, its leader Xi Jinping implemented currency controls that placed a $50,000 annual cap on overseas housing purchases by Chinese buyers. This severely impacted sales since its target buyers were wealthy middle-class Chinese looking to invest their wealth abroad. Even if there were any loopholes, Chinese buyers would have to go up against Malaysia's much-respected Mahathir Mohamad. In May 2018, Mahathir was elected Prime Minister once again after a previous 22-year stint in the office. He came out of retirement in a bid to take down former Prime Minister and alleged 1MDB embezzler Najib Razak. Mahathir's election won on a campaign that attacked Chinese investments in Malaysia.
This development will be for outsiders, including mainland Chinese, to come and live here. That is not foreign direct investment, and none of our people are employed.
Forest City was specifically named as a threat to national sovereignty. In August 2018, Mahathir announced that foreigners were banned from buying Forest City properties and would not be granted visas to live there. This caused a lot of turmoil within Malaysia itself. Johor officials welcomed the development. The Sultan of Johor had a massive stake in it. Even the country's housing minister at the time disagreed with the Prime Minister's orders. Malaysia also recently imposed stricter conditions on its long-term visa program, Malaysia, My Second Home. The program is popular amongst retirees and expats seeking a second or even main home from their country of origin, but it is now more difficult for them to purchase homes in Malaysia. Among the new conditions are 1.5 million ringgit in liquid assets and a minimum 40,000 ringgit offshore monthly income. Amidst all the distressing news, Forest City's strategic director tried to be hopeful as he spoke with local newspaper Malay Mail. The company believes Malaysia will be the gateway of the Southeast Asian region, just like what London is to Europe and Dubai to the Middle East. But this was just the beginning of the end for Forest City. Problem 2. Ecological disaster. Ironically, Forest City is attractive to buyers for similar reasons that trigger skepticism from ecologists. The project rests along a magnificent shoreline and provides more affordable oceanfront properties compared to other developments in JB or Singapore, one of the most expensive cities to live in. But its large 1,370 hectares of land comes at a cost beyond monetary terms. Biodiverse seagrass meadows and mangrove forests have been destroyed to make room for the project. A study published by ISEAS Research Institution found that the project has negatively impacted the local fishing community. The construction has increased the number of shallow waters and environmental and acoustic pollution, leading to the death of marine species. Joseph Marcel Williams, who studied Forest City as an MIT graduate student in planning, also warned that the planned 30-year construction of Forest City has contributed to the loss of important habitat and presents serious financial risks to the region if the project is abandoned or unfinished. He also weighed in that the Sultan of Johor likely helped the controversial project slip past environmental review and regulation that other initiatives might have typically been stalled by. Forest City is also partially built on reclaimed land from the sea. Around 163 million cubic meters of sand were dumped into the ocean to build the city. But Country Garden Group's rush to develop the land meant that there was insufficient time for the soil to settle and stabilize. This caused cracks to appear in some of its buildings and roads soon after construction. Malaysian environmentalists also criticized that the construction has severely impacted water quality due to increased suspended sediment and shifting sands. Forest City officials refused to address these concerns, instead proudly touting the development's supposed environmental recovery projects. Serena Abdurrahman, an ISEAS conservation scientist, believes that the seagrass meadow habitats are remarkably resilient and will recover once reclamation and dredging stops. But the construction is meant to last for 30 years. Local fishing communities are already struggling to make a living. With the pattern of land reclamation in Johor, fishermen have to go further out to sea, making their work even more dangerous. According to environment site Manga Bay, Country Garden Group spent $25 million in compensation to some 250 fishermen for losses in their catches. But throwing money at the problem isn't going to solve anything. Problem 3. Foreigners can't have it, locals can't afford it. Forest City had bet its bottom dollar on wealthy Chinese investors. However, political tensions between Malaysia and China have severed this once reliable cash flow stream. The development is forced to turn to locals in a desperate attempt to stop the bleeding, but Forest City condos are selling at $1.4 million on average. Compared to the average JB property selling for $135,000, most locals simply can't afford it.
Forest City is quite different. It is a very luxurious development which Malaysians cannot afford to buy.
And so the development has to improvise with a hastily hatched Plan B, target wealthy JB locals and Singaporeans. It is no secret that the Singaporean dollar stretches far on Malaysian soil. Many JB locals commute daily into Singapore for work, much like New Jersey commuters into New York City. They then return home and enjoy Singapore's higher pay at Malaysia's lower cost of living. Singaporeans also escape to JB for affordable weekend getaways and shopping trips. Many Malaysians are also permanent residents of Singapore and vice versa, and cross-border family ties are extremely common. After all, it was only in 1965 that Singapore separated from Malaysia to become an independent and sovereign state. This unique relationship between the countries means plenty of Singaporean dollars circling these waters. The sad reality, however, is that Forest City sealed its own grim fate when it priced its properties to cater to the wealthy Chinese and chose to ignore the symbiotic relationship between JB and Singapore. Forest City's Plan B was implemented much too late. Wealthy JB locals and Singaporeans can't be fooled into buying worthless properties that weren't built for them anyway, so they slammed the door on this fake luxury. The development acknowledges its massive oversupply issue, but it now bears the tarnished reputation of a ghost town. The Chinese continue to pine for affordable housing outside their country, and the locals continue to wish away this dystopian nightmare. Amidst all this drama, neighbors Johor and Singapore are still looking to embrace more connectivity. The RTS Link, a rapid transit system that will connect JB and Singapore, is expected to open in 2026. With enough luck, this ghost town just might boom once again. Until then, Forest City sales reps continue to sell a utopian dream that lives only in the glossy leaflets of its unwanted flyers. So, what do you think? Will Forest City Johor ever shake off its ghost town status and rise to its full glory? Or will it remain as Malaysia's biggest failure since its 1MDB scandal? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.